Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hey, folks, it's Monday afternoon, and I don't know about you guys, but it has been crazy, nutsy busy in this place. In the last 3 hours, I've gone insane. I didn't even realize, note to self, when you book 5 shows in 1 week, it's madness. I'm just saying that. Oh, my God. But I'm so excited. I love doing my show, and I love all the people coming on my show. So real quickly, before we get going with Michelle on the line here, because I know that she's holding for us, let's just make a couple really super quick announcements, and then we'll go on from there. I want to remind everybody, obviously, this coming weekend of the Labor of Love fundraiser, which is being held for the benefit of the Village Playhouse. For those of you that don't know, because I'm a Wisconsinite, the Village Playhouse is one of those old-time, over 40-year-old businesses that help to keep theater alive in the community. They have an absolutely wonderful format. As you know, my film festival or film event, I should say, was held at Inspiration Studios in West Dallas as well. The location is 1500 South 73rd Street in West Dallas. It's going to be from 5 to 9 on October 15th, and the ticket price is $25 to get in, which includes appetizers and music and the silent auction and the raffle items and good company and great networking. So please make it a point to come, and that's on October 15th. That's this coming weekend. For those of you that are in Madison, I posted this morning, and I think it's on my show page. I'm going to be in Madison at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. That's at the Marquee, which is inside the UW Student Union. The purpose of that is my dear friend, who is also a friend of our show, is going to be showing his documentary, which is called Mixed Match. What's super cool about this, folks, is, as you all know, I'm not only a big fan of independent film and a big supporter of that. This gentleman put together a movie which documents 5 different couple stories, and they're all mixed races. And we kind of follow the journey of how these individuals are struggling to try to find donors that match with them, because they are not only mixed races, but they're also blood cancer victims. So it's crucially vital that they find the right mix at the right time, and sometimes it's altogether life-saving and or life-threatening, whichever, depending on the case. So 7 o'clock, please go ahead and check my page. I will be talking about it all week, but it will be at 7 o'clock. The film screens thereafter, and then Jeff Sheba Stearns is going to be doing a Q&A afterwards. So if you can, please support. And last but not least, of course, Artists Alive Film Festival, my film festival, 26th to the 28th in New York City. Please spread the word. Please buy your tickets. Please attend. Please, please, please. I can't say please enough. So without further ado, I don't want to keep Michelle waiting any longer. Let's get her on the line and start talking about her product. I'm so excited. Hi, Michelle.
Hello. Hey,
Did you sit and listen to me blabbering on there?
Yes. What was that you have in New York City?
Well, I was just talking about that last thing. I am I'm many things, but I'm doing my very first independent film festival at the end of New York. I'm okay. At the end of October is my very first film festival in New York City, and I'm petrified.
Oh.
I mean, I'm happy and
excited.
That's so exciting.
But I would love to attend. I'm right outside of New York, so.
I love you.
Yeah.
I love those words. I would love to attend. I would love to attend. Who doesn't want to hear that? You rock. I'm totally giving you the best interview in the entire world. I'm totally going to interview for your life. This is awesome. No, I'm totally excited to have you on my show. First of all, because you are a client. You're a client of Dana Humphreys, and Dana and I have known each other for a long time. Dana's one of my favorite people in the entire world, and I never say no to Dana. I literally, who can say no to Dana? Dana, we love you. See, I say this every time, and then she blushes. She acts like she's not that wonderful, and I'm like, she totally is wonderful.
She's very smart.
Well, let me tell you, young lady, I have to say that I was quite impressed. Well, first of all,
thank you.
I don't own a dog, but I own a cat.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm looking at this product, and I'm thinking, oh, wait, it's a dog thing. And then guess what? It's not just a dog thing. So I was totally excited to hear about that it's not the dog thing. But we're not going to talk about the product first. We're going to talk about you first. Why? Because if there was no Michelle, there'd be no SitStayGo. There'd be no Pet Dinette and Leash.
Then where would the world be?
There's no Michelle. Yeah. Then where would the world be? First of all, I'm always big on stuff that I do. I'm an author myself, and I see that you're doing your first children's book, and I've done a children's book. And I'm like, oh, my God, how exciting. So let's talk about Mirth Meets Earth. Where the heck did that motivation come from?
Sure. Actually, Mirth Meets Earth came from, and I'm working on it with a friend of mine, and she's an amazing artist here in Montclair. That's where I live, Montclair, New Jersey. And she creates jewelry, but her company is Anzi.com, but she also her dream was to illustrate children's books. So, but I had written like a whole series of children's books with my son, with my 2 sons, actually. I now have Owen and Aaron, and I went through the globe with them. I have a globe, and I just started putting rhymes down together with them, and it sort of spawned into a whole children's book. It's really about geography, and the main character is Mirth, who is actually the little black dog in my logo. And so she's a traveling dog, but not only does she travel, she comes from outer space, and she visits Earth, and she, from her new perspective, describes what she sees. And, she touches on each continent, a few places on each continent. So that's the first book, and it sort of, introduces children to their beautiful world that they live in, and, and highlights each continent, as I said, and the people in it, and I mean, it's still a children's book, so we can't go into the nitty gritty of each culture. But
right.
She sort of like skims over it and talks about the need to respect cultures and respect the earth, and how much beauty there is outside of your door. Because I think when you have young children, you're sort of like living in a silo, and your kids live in a silo and live in their immediate world. And I think it's really important to expose them to what's outside. And that's sort of why, we go through the globe a lot. And then after doing that a few times, it spawned the book. And then I have a few other follow-up books where Mirth comes back and talks about different aspects of what she sees, touching on each, a few places, different places in each continent. But, when she comes back, it's from a cultural perspective more than a geographic.
That is so cool. That is literally absolutely cool.
And it all rhymes, and it's lyrical, and the illustrations kind of make it. I think it's just beautiful. Her Jacqueline Stein, that's the illustrator. She just did a beautiful job. So, and that should be coming out
you have that.
Probably by the holidays. The other stuff is further along, but all the copy is done. It's just a matter of so it's really exciting. I'm really happy about the book.
I imagine so, definitely. Well, and the other thing, too, is, of course, with children's books, I think to some degree, sometimes it's a little easier in terms of content and in terms of pictures and drawing an audience. And nowadays there's just so, and maybe it's just me, but there's so much competition out there. There's so many people that are writing, so many different subjects, all these different things that are out there. It's tough. I mean, it's tough nowadays. And I think children are one of the best audiences because they're not tainted. You know what I mean? They have no preconceived notions. Anything. They're very open. Their eyes are very wide awake to all sorts of new ideas. You know what I'm saying? So that's awesome.
And they're curious.
Cool.
And I think, at least my kids were curious about what they were seeing on the globe. And I was trying to explain it to them. And then I had the idea of sort of putting it into rhyme so that they can, better understand. And maybe they were a little bit young at the time. But we sort of worked on it together. And but in general, I just think, we're sort of all caught up in the immediacy of our surroundings. And I think it's important.
Right.
Like the world, while we're all caught up in our own little world, the earth is getting smaller, and we have to learn about each other and learn to live together, and
exactly.
That is really like what, from like a 30,000-foot perspective, that's what inspired the series, is sort of introducing kids to different parts of the world, different ways of life, because ultimately, we're in this together, and it's important to learn early on, because unfortunately we're giving them a lot of problems. So, they have.
Tell me about it. I know exactly what you mean. And so I definitely wanted to make a point to bring that up without a doubt, because clearly you're not just one thing. Well, nobody should be funneled into one thing or another thing, obviously, and you weren't always doing what you were doing, so I think it's important to cover.
No, I wasn't.
Now, obviously, I saw that you were also, prior to this in one life, you were a copywriter at ad agency, which is oftentimes what you find me doing as well, which I'm sure eventually in New York City I'll be doing again. So I want you to talk a little bit about, seriously, this concept I want you to talk about because I get a lot of creatives and people of that sort to listen in on the radio show. And I know oftentimes when somebody hears the word copywriter, the first thing they think of, because we live in today's society, is you're a female Donald Draper. Do you know who Donald Draper is from Mad Men?
Oh, yes.
Which is, I'm smoking my cigarettes and drinking my liquor.
That would be
I'm
nice.
going to come up with a pitch in the 32nd hour. You know what I'm talking about? So tell us a bit about your adventures in copywriting, and is it as exciting as some people think it is? Because personally, I think it's so drab, and I'm married to my laptop, and sometimes I hate it. And sometimes I love it. You know what I mean? That's
Sure. And I wasn't a Donald Draper. I was his, I wasn't even a Peggy. I was like an underling.
Oh my.
But, I worked, but then, there were aspects of it that I found to be really, really exciting and things that I miss about it.
Sure.
Like the camaraderie and the people that I met were, top notch, and I miss working with a dedicated art partner. But there are drab aspects as well. And also I was in healthcare copywriting. So that's even more tedious because there was a lot of scientific stuff that went into it, fact checking and things you couldn't say, and a lot of, you have to go through medical, legal, and work with I worked with very big healthcare clients, and it was just very prescribed and very limiting creatively. But I found it exciting to, when I was pulled in on pitches and creative exercises, those were my favorite. The concepting part was probably my favorite thing, to come up with overarching ad campaigns. And we also worked business to business primarily.
Oh, okay.
So it's,
Gotcha.
direct to doctors, and healthcare professionals. So, I really there were long hours. The editorial process it could be excruciating at times, but I loved working with the people and the teams and coming up with finished products. That was probably the most gratifying part, and there was a little competitive competition, when you work. When you work under the Donald Draper who ultimately decides which concepts live and which concepts die and which concepts need to be changed, I was the one presenting to the Donald Drapers of the world, and that was exciting, and especially if you got picked and if it made it, to the last round, and if your concepts got presented to the client, that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. But now I'm a mom of two boys, and it's very difficult to work those kind of hours that I did,
definitely.
In healthcare advertising. Yeah, I may have to go back into it, but
sure.
And it's changed. I've been out for 6 years, so it's changed a lot. But I know there's always a need for people in that field.
Oh, my God, yes, without a doubt. And obviously that's the one thing I wanted to ask about, because you have experience versus moving on to something different. So have you noticed, just from being in the perspective of having been an employee at one point in time, I have noticed that things have changed so much. In fact, the trend is nowadays, because you have the advent of so much social media and all those other things, I think that the old-time days of how copywriting and web design and content creation and all that has changed a lot. And I'm not so sure I'm happy with it. I was just curious, if you've noticed the same trend where things are just so different now, period.
Right.
In that whole field.
Right. When I was working in the agency world, it was already changing. I left in 2011 when I had my first child, so it was already changing, and we were often tasked with coming up with, we did a lot of educational materials as well as ad campaigns. So educational materials about the, whatever it was that we were working for. I did a lot of vaccines, so a lot of vaccine information, or a different blood cord banking. It sort of spans some stuff on MS. So we did a lot of non-branded educational material, and a lot of it changed into digital. So it was making that shift. So I'm sure it's much more intense now with the digital.
Right.
the non-traditional, we were often tasked with coming up with non-traditional ideas, so very opposite from, Mad Men 1963, where, you had to come up with a lot of, and the thing about the show was that always, was sort of not true to life was that, they would present one concept to the client, and no, you have to present a whole handful, and they have to be different, and they have to have, you have to explain the rationale. I mean, I guess it's a television show, but that's really where I saw it differ from. But yeah, so it's really, a lot of changes have, and I'm sure much more so now since I've left. And yeah, I keep in touch with people, and I know that things are different. And a lot of the way that the agencies work internally now, it was very paper-based. Even in 2011, it was, you had to stay there, wait for jobs to route through the departments. I think now it's a lot, you could do a lot of it electronically.
Oh, my God,
so
yes,
that's changed, too, even the way they work internally.
Exactly. I agree. I kind of miss the old days myself. But, of course, I sit here and I work on a typewriter. So,
you do? Oh, my goodness.
So, oh, my God, I'm so archaic, it's ridiculous. When I say I'm a writer, I literally write. I write this show is written on a notebook, literally, believe it or not, folks.
Yes,
I tell them all the time. I'm a geek.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people laugh at me because they're like, it's
no,
2017. And I'm like, you know what? Nobody can delete a piece of paper.
You can't delete it.
You know what I mean? You can't delete a paper.
Typing all the time on my phone or my computer. I've forgotten how to write. I don't even know how to write. And my handwriting is like chicken scratch. It's terrible. It's wonderful that you're writing.
You.
So you're probably the only person left.
That. See, I'm the only one in America. Me and Stephen King, maybe. I'm not sure, but still, I'm proud of the fact that I do that. So I'm going to keep rocking. There are some writers that typically write right. I just have believed that I just don't, doesn't the internet scare you? Because it scares me. What if the laptop explodes tomorrow? What if I can't access
it? You have to back
everything
up. I've gotten burned.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
so
and who are you backing up? I mean, everything I have is on iCloud. Who? What is that cloud? Who's watching me? I'm really nothing to hide.
Who's the they? Yeah, who's the
who's the
they in the bunch?
Where is
the they
cloud?
Or those people?
Yeah.
That's too funny. Okay, so now talk to me because I know you just did Paws in the Park, and I've been invited and I never get a chance to go to one of those. So how was that? How was the whole event? How did it go?
Oh, that was a great time. I'm obviously love dogs, so I don't have a dog now. I had my product was inspired by my late Yorkie, but so going to Paws in the Park and doing these grassroots events are really a lot of fun because you get to meet people when they're with their pets and bond with the animals. So I love that. And it was just a happy event that supported the community. And I think the point of the event was to buy some vests for the police force. So it was a very good cause, number one. And number two, you just get a nice cross-section of the community. And people are happy, and it's a Saturday, and they're in the park with their pets. So, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And I got great, I got some pre-orders, and I got amazing feedback, which is so encouraging, because I took such a risk with my product. So I was happy all around. It's not work. It's fun. It's great.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm doing another event this weekend. In Hoboken.
And you're also doing another event, too, that we're going to talk about later, because I already know about that one.
Mm-hmm.
But little by little, we'll get there. Now, I want to talk about, obviously, because I'm dog stupid, so I won't lie about that. But first of all, let's talk about the particulars, which is this, because I just had a guy on my show on Friday who had the same situation. So I want you to talk a little bit about this, because you've developed a product, and we understand that it's patent pending. I want you to talk a little bit about that to folks, because let's get real. Most of us are never going to actually sit down and say, hey, I invented so-and-so today. And I imagine that process might be frustrating, tedious, annoying. I don't even know how many adjectives I can think of here. But
expensive.
Talk to us a bit about, right, well, and that's the other thing. Talk a bit about, in case there are people out there listening that want to embark on doing it, because I don't want to discourage someone from necessarily coming up with something, but let's talk about the realities of a product pending patent, meaning what have you had to go through? What's your experience been like?
Oh, sure. Well, I had to go through a few iterations as well because I kept changing the product to make it, work with different engineers and make it better. But let's say you just like starting from the beginning, you think you have an idea. It's always good to start with an internet search, make sure, sort of do an inventory or an audit of what exists on the market. You might and don't get discouraged from that. Like you might get more ideas based on what you find or what you don't find. So then from there, I think it's good to draw pictures and describe it to yourself so that you're clear on what your idea is. And if you really feel that there's like a hole in the market for it, I would speak to a patent attorney or even better, a patent agent. And I worked with a really great guy out of Littleton, Colorado. And I'm in New Jersey, so it didn't really matter that he was in Colorado. And patent agents can do everything. I guess I could give his name, Ben Williams,
of course,
in Littleton, Colorado. He's a pro, and he knows so much, and he could really do everything that a patent attorney can do, with the exception of a few things like going to court. But otherwise, he can do the initial search. So then, what you do is you engage in a patent attorney or a patent agent. And then they do a search for you, and they'll search the USPTO database. You can also, as like a layperson, do a search as well. I just don't know if they have special access. Yeah, so it's the USPTO.gov or just Google USPTO. That's where all the patents live. And then so they can do a search for you, and then the search, so that costs money, and then the search results come back, and the patent attorney or a patent agent will sort of advise on whether you have a shot or what else is out there that's similar, or whether you could qualify for a utility patent versus a design patent. There's a big difference. You really if you're going to go forward with it, you really want utility patent application because the utility patent protects the form of the function of a product, so that is gives it more coverage rather than just a design aspect, because it's so easy to design around an idea. Do you see what I'm saying? Like if you develop a
I follow what you're saying. I have a question though, because this might sound like a dumb question, but I don't think it is, because you're dealing with pets and things of that nature. Are there specifications that apply to you versus somebody like me, for instance? Like we all know, if I could, I'd patent like a wine IV, where you could keep it in you intravenously, in the afternoon and evening. Just kidding, not really. But you know what I mean? It's because when you're dealing with food, pets, things like that, are there particulars that you have to adhere to? Because obviously we want pets to be safe, and not that you're, by any means making a product that's unsafe for a pet. But do you know what I'm trying to say? Is that criteria going to be a little bit different? Okay.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the patent process, though. The patent process is more about the idea. Once you get into production, and that's a whole other can of worms. So then you have your patent application. And I mean, it depends on how you whether you don't want to do the patent process and you want to just go right to developing the product and doing a rapid prototype. Usually you'll start with a rapid prototype, see how it looks and feels, make sure it could function, make sure it could work. But really that I went through the patent process first. I did my patent application. Then I engaged in a few engineers locally here in New Jersey that can help develop my idea, from an engineering standpoint. And then they'll advise you on different materials and different different materials that are food safe and, plastics that are food safe, and we want to do BPA free, and whether it's injection mold versus blown plastic versus, how to make it as lightweight as possible, as streamlined as possible, as strong as possible. And then once you're done with, they'll create, in my experience, they created a special file called a CAD file, and we went through a few versions of those, the CAD file is what you need to create a rapid prototype, and the rapid prototype lets you hold and feel the product to make sure you're happy with it, make sure it, sort of to work out the kinks, and you go through that a few times. So that's expensive too. You know what I mean? But otherwise, that you kind of have to go through that process. And then you source. I worked with. I'm still working with a company that actually specializes in kids products, which is great from a safety standpoint because they help me source a factory that does primarily kids products, and so they're very well versed in the testing process. And with dogs, it's not as strict. There's really no regulations with dogs. If you're doing a children's product, forget about it. I mean, you have to go testing like crazy. Okay. But because I'm all about safety first, I did not cut corners in that regard. So once I went into production, I did do extensive testing on my product so that it's composition tested to make sure it's BPA free, dishwasher safe, nice. Heat, how hot it can get, how cold it can get, pull testing, abuse testing, make sure it can support the pull of a dog. And I think that there is a proposition, I believe, Proposition 5065 in California that sort of defines the parameters of a dog leash. So that is what we adhere to. So if you create a dog leash and to sell it in California, you have to meet those standards of that proposition. So that is what we followed. But it really, we put it through extensive testing, and the testing is done by an external testing agency that is sanctioned. There's a whole list by the federal, I think it was the FDA that puts out a list of testing agencies globally. So we used one of those, and we went through the whole gamut. As much as I could test, I tested. And they test, they pull at random off the production line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So, folks, didn't you just convince you to want to go after
really
a patent?
Important.
God, I'm just listening to this and I'm thinking, didn't she just convince all of us that we should run out and try to get a patent?
Oh, I'm still patent pending. It takes years for the USPTO to come back. God. Yeah, so I'll be, you'll see a lot of, and you do get protection under patent. So if somebody comes up with the product 6 months later or whatever, if I feel it infringes upon my patent, then I can, or my patent application rather, I could talk to an attorney or then the patent agent, and I, could take action. I mean, that is an expensive process in and of itself. But you could send cease and desist letters or whatever. There is protection, and there's also international protection as well. So if you put in an application, that's really interesting that I learned about. So if you put in an application, with the USPTO, they have a treaty with participating nations. I think it's 200 plus countries that also participate. So then you get protection in those countries a year from the filing date. So if for a year, so it gives you a chance to see it through a bit, see your idea through a bit. Yeah, it's really intricate process.
I can see that. My goodness, and I give you a lot of credit for that.
You know what? You just have to kind of do it little by little, because if you think of it in its entirety, then it gets really overwhelming. And if you think of the costs too, that freaks me out. That freaks me out a little bit. But
I bet.
But I believed in it. I believed that there was a need for this. I needed it as a dog owner, and I thought it's better. It could, maybe it's not for every dog owner, but I thought that there was a market for it, and that's why that's what kind of kept me motivated. It wasn't so much to fill a need I had. in myself. It was obviously something I wanted to do, but I felt like that there would be benefit for people out there for this product. So I kept moving forward.
Agree. Exactly.
I hope so.
Persistence pays off.
I would have bought it.
Persistence will pay off.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, let's talk about, obviously, one of the things that I want to touch on here, because we'll have different dynamic parts of the product itself. But first off, let's start with the obvious, which is it's called a Pet Dinette and Leash. The entire thing, in and of itself, contains the leash, the flask, and the 2 storage bowls. Okay, so when you start out thinking of something like this, what were some of the top 2 or 3 things predominantly in your mind when you were coming up with this product that were important to you, what had to be part of this product that you knew was important for a pet owner?
I think the number one part of the product was that it needed to have access to water.
Gotcha.
I was always forgetting water when I had my dog, and I always needed it. And so then I was running out to buy water. I lived in Manhattan, so, I was a city girl, and we all have to walk our dogs, and I was living a busy life, and I was running around, running in and out in a hurry, and I would grab my leash, get my dog, get her going, and then a block later, I noticed how thirsty she was. And so then I would look around and then spend money on buying water, because I didn't want her to have something out of a puddle or, even like the commute. First of all, my dog she was a Yorkie, and she also had Giardia. She came with Giardia, and it never cleared. So I was always paranoid about where she was drinking from, and also very cognizant of who, whether she was sharing a bowl. I didn't want to give it to other dogs. So I wanted her to have a single source of water, of clean water. So that was probably the most important part. And then secondarily, I think it was just like the scramble. Like I would need things for her and I wouldn't have them, because I was like in a rush and absent-minded, and I couldn't have been the only one. But, I would pick up a leaf and pick up her waste and throw it in the garbage. It was ridiculous.
Oh, my goodness.
Or treats, like I always had like remnants of treats in my pockets that were crummy, but I never had the treat because I was always forgetting the treat.
Oh.
And I wanted to train it. What's that?
I said, my goodness. Now, do you find that this is common for most, just so that we know, pet owners in terms of, have you heard that a lot from pet owners, that they go running out the door because they want to go for a walk or whatever have you, and they don't usually have that stash of stuff with them? Because I obviously don't walk a dog, so I don't really know if that's something that's
finding that it is. I think it depends where you live, but I do find it's common. I see people here in now I'm in the suburbs, and I go, I study the market, and I go to dog parks. I see people walking around with, jugs of water for their pet,
oh my gosh,
especially on a hot day. So obviously it's an issue. And I see people, there are always, there are things on the market, but they're sort of afterthoughts, and there are things that you need to pack. Like they do have these water bottles with oblong bowls attached to it, and yes, they're useful, or they have the collapsible bowls, but they dangle. They're sort of dingleberries that dangle from your leash or your belt or whatever. It's not streamlined, and I personally would forget them. You have to pack them, and I needed something that I could grab and go. I was doing 5 million different things. And so I needed it. Yes, and I also, as a dog owner, I think we're living in a multitasking time, and especially I didn't have kids back then. So if I had kids and the dog, I'd be doing 10 million different things while out and about on my walk. So you never really know where the walk will take you. So I thought it would be really nice to have something that was just kind of had everything there. You didn't have to pack anything. You just had it ready, prepared, and you make it your own, and you just grab and go.
Right.
So I think it is an issue, not for every dog owner, but certainly for some. Then, there are the people who do a lot of hiking, so that's another thing. You don't want to pack, as you probably have to pack for yourself, so you don't want to pack that much for your pet. It would be great to just kind of have everything at your fingertips. If you want, you can unhook the leash, and they could go off leash if you want them to. So that's really good for hikers. And then there's like the whole contingent of people who live in warm climates, and you don't want to get stuck without water for your pet. So,
definitely.
Yeah,
like LA or Vegas.
Yeah. I was thinking of like retirees in Florida,
Oh, yeah, right. I forgot about that because
a lot of
obviously
them get
they're doing that.
Empty nesters.
Exactly. Yes, that's right. Plus, I noticed that one of the neat features is that you've got that reflective tape for the night walk. So this way, because I see this happen all the time in the neighborhood,
actually,
the dogs and the people.
Yeah. Ultimately, the leash will have reflective tape because it was kind of a little difficult with the reflective tape is on the sample, but in order for it to be, because it's all the bowls are dishwasher safe, so we didn't want the tape to get damaged in the dishwasher. So ultimately, for this first round, it's not going to have tape, and then for the second production run, the reflective tape will be on the leash, on the standard leash that it comes with. So, and I think that even works better. Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. I wanted to just clarify that because I thought that's a super neat feature because, like I said, I see people here, and I live in a residential area, and I'm driving around at nighttime, and I'm always having to be really super careful because you can't see people, with their dogs or their pets walking around, which scares me. I think would scare them because obviously they're walking around like that. It's scary, definitely.
It is scary. And actually, the great part of this product is that you can hook on where the leash is anchored. It's all reinforced with rust-proof steel. So, like I said, it's been tested. It's very strong. But you could hook different things. Like you could put your waste bag dispenser of choice on there. You could put a light on there. I mean, they sell lights, LED lights at any pet store, so you could just hook that on. So it's probably even better than reflective tape. So this way, anybody could see you coming from miles away.
Oh, you betcha. Definitely.
And you can also pick, where to pick up the waste when it's dark out. So that's another benefit.
You betcha. Now, because people are listening in and they're not physically watching us, so we don't have an actual picture of the product in front of us, so kind of take people a little bit of a walkthrough of what they expect to do once they have the product in hand, how easy and convenient it is, because I know that was important to you to make this comfortable and not only healthier, but also, as you mentioned, eco-friendly, the cleaner water, and we want to make sure that people understand the process itself of both cleaning and using it is pretty simplistic, is it not?
Yes, it's very simple. I could tell you more about it. It comes with a 10-ounce water flask that it pops in and out for easy cleaning, and it's watertight, and it pops into where the handle is, and the handle is rubberized and ergonomic, so you get a nice grip with the handle. Like it's reinforced with rust-proof steel where the device meets the leash, so it clips on to the leash anchor. And then at the other end of the leash, it clips onto any standard collar or harness. And then underneath where the built-in water flask is, you get two bowls. And the first bowl screws on or on and off, and it could be used for serving water. And if you're going on a flight or a hike or a longer trip, or you don't know where you're going, or you want to carry treats or a portion of food, you could put the second bowl on, and there's space there to carry a portion of food or, whatever it is you need, a stash of training treats, or you could even put the diameter is such that you could put credit card, license, or even keep a spare key. That was another thing. I was getting locked out on my walks, running out without my key. That's genius. So I would have kept a spare key, so I would never have that problem again.
You bet.
And what's cool about this product is that you can even stack on bowls. So it comes with 2 bowls, but you could, eventually you'll be able to buy the bowls separately, so you could stack them on if you want more, or if you more pets. Eventually, I'll offer a coupler leash that you'll be able to, so you could walk 2 pets, 2 dogs. It's also great for road trips and hotels. So, like, if you're staying at a hotel with your pet, you don't have to call the concierge and scramble around for, bowls. You could just open it up, and it has, the water, the bowls, and the food. At least a portion of food. You might have to pack more in your bag, but you could keep a portion of food handy. It's great for height flights as well. And if you've got a cat and you're taking a road trip with your cat, you don't need the leash. I mean, unless you're one of those people who walks your cat. I doubt it. There are a few out there, so I don't want to knock them. But yeah, it's good for cats as well, and great for, like, if you're traveling with your cat, taking a flight. You have it's sort of like a lunchbox for your cat. And also what I find is that the pets love the bowls. Like my puppy niece, my sister has a Westie, who's the most particular crazy little dog I've ever met, and she refuses to use oblong bowls or those portable bowls like that are made of fabric. I don't know why, but she uses my bowls, so I'm honored by Molly's use of my bowls. But I find that because it's so familiar and it's round and it's what they're used to at home, generally, I find that, like, the dogs that I use it on, I go to dog runs all the time and watch how the product is used. They do like to use it. So
gotcha. I betcha.
It's very it's very convenient. It's healthy. It's BPA free, food grade plastic, and everything's dishwasher safe. So
gotcha. Now, I guess my big question is, and I'm not quite so sure how much feedback you've gotten yet from pet owners themselves, meaning, of course, you can develop a great product, but clearly you want your mass audience, and in this particular case, it's the pet itself. So do the pets, because I think by nature, like when my cat goes outside or any outdoor pet that you take for a walk, it's within their nature, like you're saying, they get thirsty, they want to go to a puddle, they want to go here, they want to go here. That's their natural instinct. So is it difficult for them to adapt to, you know what I mean? You plop your product out and here they have something different. Is there an adjustment period for the pet itself, or do you think they're kind of shifting into this and they're appreciating the fact of the healthier aspects of having this? Well,
I haven't heard anything in terms of, like, getting the pet to comply. What I have heard is that, especially, like I said, I live very close to New York, so I have some New Yorkers using this. And when you're in New York as a pet owner, and I always found this too, you never really know where the walk will take you. So you might end up in the park, or you might, and what I would do is I would buy, being ever the one who is unprepared, I would buy water. I'd buy a bottle of water and then feed her from my hand. And then most of the water would end up on the pavement, of course. So what I have heard from people is that it gives their pet more stamina to keep up, because you already have, like, what you need for your pet. They have the water, and it gives them, like, more energy when you're out and about. It sort of takes, and for the pet owner, it takes the worry out of, like, oh God, I have to get back because they're getting hot. Within reason, of course, but that was always on my mind. Like, I can't go there. Like, I have to really be careful, because I would never have what I needed. So I'd find myself out and then, like, needing to get back for my dog. But this way, like, you have everything, so you could take a rest. You could take a rest, and you could give them what they need. Another big thing, especially if you're, like, a city liver, a city dweller, like, I would find myself eating al fresco or stopping at a restaurant, and you're eating outside. It's great to open this up and have your dog eat as well. Or if you want to feed your dog, you never want to feed your dog from the table. The rule of thumb is you want to feed your dog into their bowl. So if you're feeding them your own food, you don't want to give it from the table. You want to put it in their bowl. So that's, like, another thing. And then there's, like, a whole training component as well that, I don't really talk about. But, if you're out and about and you have a puppy or a dog that that sort of misbehaves on their walks, like mine did. I mean, she was a Yorkie, so when she jumped up on people, it wasn't such a big deal, but I tried to get her not to do that. So when I was training her, I used to use a water bottle with the coins and with coins in it, and every time she did something that was not right, I would shake the water bottle and she would stop, and then I would give her a treat when she would stop. So you can do that because they don't like that sound. It's jarring for them. So you can do that with this product as well. You can put some coins in the compartments, and so there's a good, if you're out and about and training, there's a good training component.
That's very cool. Now, I guess we should address the obvious other ones. Most of the people that own pets are also moms, dads, things like that. So in some ways, is this more conducive, meaning that I'm imagining a mom that's out there, and sure, keys and credit cards are great, but do you think you'll ever do like an expansion or an add-on, meaning like, I don't want to say carrying diapers, but do you know what I mean? Like sometimes moms have these extra things or parents have extra stuff. You just can't fit into one thing. So is that a consideration maybe of adding something to maybe make it a more family-friendly as well? Does that make sense?
You mean to do like a kid line or?
Yes, meaning like I've looked at your product and I see the components that are there. Do you think that there's anything that you could add on, for instance, like let's say a mom has a baby and a pet and they're taking both out. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Obviously, they need a bigger compartment or a bigger something. So that's why I was curious if you're ever going to branch out to maybe either add on to the existing product or make like a mom and my pet sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It was just something.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I do have also a product coming out. Not so much for this product in particular, like anecdotally, I know this is going to sound disgusting, but a friend of mine uses the product and her dog has anal leakage. I don't even know if I could say that on the air.
Oh,
I mean, whatever.
Well, you just did.
It's a fact of life.
No, I get it. Sure.
So she put in the bowls, and instead of using it for their purpose, she'll put baby wipes in there. You know what I mean? To clean her dog when she's out.
Sure.
So I thought that was pretty impressive. But yeah, I think that what inspired me to come up with ideas, and I came up with a lot of baby products too, but I'm interested in the dog industry because I always, and I'm such a pet lover. I find that there's so much crossover. And the baby industry, I mean, it's amazing, like the innovation that comes out constantly. It's just, and the design and the colors and I had my most recent child in 2013. So if I were to go into Bye Bye Baby now, it's completely different. And there are like all these cool new products. It's always changing over. And with the pet industry, I felt that there was like room for that kind of innovation because there's some similarities. So I'm also coming out with a product that's a diabetic pet carrier. That will be out probably in like 2 months, and I hope to sell it to vet to vet offices. So if you have a pet who has diabetes, a lot of times people feel that they're tethered to the refrigerator because you have to inject them with insulin. I mean, it's like people, you have to inject them with insulin twice a day, and it has to be kept at a controlled temperature. So my product is smaller, and it has a carabiner, and it comes with ice packs, and so you can, you're not so, tied to your refrigerator. You could go out for a few hours. You could take your dog on a flight. Like, you don't have to worry about it. But that product really could be used for babies too. It's great for teethers. Right. It could be used, to keep milk cold, and it could be hooked onto the stroller. So it's a dog product, yes, or it's a pet product, yes, but it's also, it could be great for moms as well. So, I think that there is room. Right now I'm sort of tapped out financially, but
I understand.
I mean, as a new business owner, it's like now I'm sort of at the end of the road, but I see so many ways to sort of expand into like family life. But this also, this particular product, the Pet Dinette, I also like, could sort of change the way we travel through life with our pets, and we take a family trip, we all saw the movie Vacation. Do you remember that? Edna's
yes,
dog.
I do.
It was very unfortunate, but we all take family trips and road trips, and this makes it like much easier to sort of, when you're worrying about a million different things to pack for your children, this is like sort of prescribed, and it has everything there for your pet. You just fill it up and throw it in, and there you go.
Sure.
You have everything you need to go for a few hours. Yeah.
Now,
I also, anecdotally, like I spoke to somebody in Florida, and they said it would have been great because they had to evacuate for Irma. And, when you're packing up your house and taping up your windows and you got to get you and your family and your pets out, it makes it easy to leave in a hurry.
Sure.
I mean, that's like an extreme situation, but,
But still,
it's just,
no, I understand.
Yeah, sadly.
I do.
Seems more common now these days.
I know, and it's unfortunate, way too unfortunate, obviously. There are two other things that we want to cover about this. First of all, I know that you also offer the fur baby carrier. I noticed that actually when I was on your website, and we should talk about that. So,
sure.
in terms of what fur baby carrier is.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's another way. I had my Yorkie for 10 years. I mean, it's for a small pet, and it's an airline compliant, like high-quality carrier that's very discreet. So it's not like obvious that there's a pet in there, but yet it's also well ventilated. But what I did was with that product, I noticed what I was carrying around for my children and married the two. So it's the only product that I know of that bundles. So you get your little bottle for your dog or your cat. Some cats use it as well. It comes with a food-grade silicone collapsible bowl and a little pouch to put it in, and on the side you could put your, water or whatever you need or food, and you got everything you need for your pet, and you can stop and feed them, from their bowl, and it's really like sturdy on the bottom, and it's great for going out and about. It's a tote, but it's also great for flights as well.
Gotcha. Very cool. And I like that. And I saw that on the website. I was like, yeah, that's just as cool literally as the initial base product, I think.
Oh,
and in some ways it's almost as helpful. Definitely. I mean, I think it's a great addition, and I don't think, I didn't want people to just be stuck on the, here's the Pet Dinette and Leash thing, but then, of course, I think it's so cool that you offer the other thing. And I also want to mention,
and it's available now. Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just going to say, my guess was that they were both available at this point in time. I also noticed that you indicate that the actual internal portions of your product are rust-proof because, of course, it's rust-proof stainless steel, and I want to make a point to mention that to folks, meaning that there's no worry. Right, because that's an important thing, obviously, because I'm guessing you have to wash these regularly, a couple times a day, et cetera, because obviously
that part you can wash by hand. The outside part, but where the food goes. But, it's an outdoor product. You could get stuck in the rain, you could leave it out on the porch. So it's important that it's rust-proof. It's important that it's strong and sturdy. But the stuff that holds the food is dishwasher safe. So the storage bowls are dishwasher safe. But that part, you could wash it, and it's not a problem.
Wonderful. Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure to cover that part. And then one of the biggest things that we don't want to forget to mention is this. I know that you take a portion of the sales and that it's going to two different things. So I want to clarify this because I know on your website you mentioned Houston SPCA, which is, of course, helping the Hurricane Harvey victims. And then there's also mention of Montclair Township Animal Shelter. So I just want to clear up any confusion there, meaning so when all is said and done and products get purchased, et cetera, what exactly and who are you donating to?
Actually, when I get off the phone, I'm actually going to make my first donation because I'm already getting pre-sales. So through my launch and through the holidays to the first of the year, I'm going to be donating to the Houston SPCA to help the Harvey victims, and then after that point, we'll shift to Montclair Township Animal Shelter, which is I live in Montclair, so
of course. So it's a local,
and it's a portion of each sale. Yeah, it's sort of like part of my business plan. I think that, I mean, you know, it's giving back a little bit, and you know, I think that is that's something that's close to my heart, and you know, because of my physical limitations, because, you know, I live in a bubble, and I'm allergic to pets, I would adopt 3 or 4 if I could, but I can't. So, you know, that's my way of helping. I mean, I had my Yorkie for 13 years, and, you know, I was allergic to her for 13 years. So right now I can't do that again. I know. But, you know, I'm in the market for another dog. So I'm looking to adopt maybe a poodle, because my kids are dying for a dog. Oh, my goodness. So,
I bet. Dog, right?
I have to, so I'm getting allergy shots, and I'm trying to build it up, and then we're going to probably get a little dog. But in the meantime, you know, that's something, regardless of whether I have a dog or not, like that's something that's, you know, a lot of people need a lot of money and a lot of help, but, you know, the animals do too. So that's, you know, if there's anything that I could do, I think that's, you know, near and dear to my heart. So,
of course, I understand.
Yeah. So
now we want to
through the holidays. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go
just
ahead.
to clarify, through the holidays, through the launch until January of 2018, it goes to the Houston SPCA, and then I shift over to the Montclair Township Animal Shelter.
That's what I thought. Okay, gotcha. I just wanted to be clear about that because I didn't want to throw out that information and people are like, what, huh? What is she talking about? So we like to be clear on the show. That's
it's a little
confusing. Sign of there. Yes, exactly. That's why I thought I'd ask. Now, the 2 different events. First, I want you to discuss the one that you have this weekend, plus tell the folks about the trunk show, because I know that's coming up on November 4th in Chelsea from 3 to 5. So talk about the event this weekend and how folks can go, and then, of course, the trunk show in Chelsea.
Sure. The event this weekend is Bark in the Park in Hoboken. I'm trying to get the address.
That's fine.
And that will be, you know, a really fun event at a park. And I think that benefits a Jersey City, New Jersey animal shelter.
Okay.
And I'll be pre-ordering the product, selling the tote bag with the collapsible bowl, and also showing the insulin carrier as well, which could be used for babies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's good for, like, you know, like I said, it's a really, like, small, compact little thing with a carabiner, so you could hook it onto a stroller if you want to keep, you know, food cold or the teethers cold. It's, you know, a really useful product. And that will be out probably late November. I'll have that out on the market.
Nice.
But it'll be just a great, it'll be in Stevens Park in Hoboken. Oh, wait,
okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry, that's the wrong
I just
park.
want to be clear. So
It'll be at the Church Square Park in Hoboken. That's on 4th Street in Hoboken, New Jersey. And it benefits an animal shelter, the Liberty Humane Society in Jersey City, which is next door to Hoboken.
Very cool. Okay, I gotcha. And then November 4th, obviously, is the trunk show, which is located at D Pet Hotels in Chelsea. Isn't that correct?
Yes, the D Pet Hotel in Chelsea on November 4th. And that's at 104 West 27th Street in New York, New York. And it'll be a very fun event. And the time, sorry, I'm just looking it up.
No, that's fine. I believe it's 3 to 5.
3 to 5.
On the 4th.
Yeah, 3 to 5 on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it'll
want
be,
to make a point.
You know, crudité, lots of pets, lots of fun. And
get to meet you.
I will be selling the product there.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you'll actually have it on hand.
I'll have inventory of the product.
That's awesome.
Barring anything with, anything.
Don't throw it out there.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
No, I won't say it.
There'll be nothing happening. You'll be there. Definitely don't do that.
Everybody will get their product well in advance of the holidays, and it comes packaged, and it makes an amazing holiday gift, for any dog lover, I think. So, and that was my goal, was to get it well in advance of the holidays. So.
And that's smart, because oftentimes you know how things go with the holidays and stuff like that. So you're definitely doing the right thing there. My gosh, look at this. We've done this for an hour. Can you believe that? This always blows my mind away. I look at the clock. It's been an hour. Wow. Can you believe it?
Well,
that's awesome.
Time flies when you're having fun. Thank you.
Well, that's a good thing. That hopefully is a testament that I've done my job well and that I've covered everything that I need to.
Yeah, it's a pleasure talking to you.
Well, thank you.
I
don't want to
forget your film festival. That sounds very exciting.
I was just going to say, there's three things that we have to cover here. Yeah, I was just going to say, I'll send you the information relative to my film festival, just to let your fans and followers and friends and everybody that might be listening in or who didn't get a chance to hear the show, that give it about 2 hours or so, and then I'll send over a copy of the Blog Talk Radio format, and then it gets uploaded to YouTube, so I'll send you the link for the YouTube channel. I'll also send you the link for Blog Talk Radio. I want to read off the different places to find you, and when I get done, just let me know if I missed anything, okay? Folks, the individual you were just listening to, the lovely lady Michelle Glasser is her name. The website itself to go and find her products is SitStayGo Company, which is co.com. So it's SitStayGo.co.com. She is on Facebook, and that is SitStayGo. Her Twitter handle is at SitStayGo, and again, CO at the end, so at SitStayGo CO. Instagram is SitStayGo _ and then the CO. And then she is also on Amazon as well as YouTube. Any other places we can find you?
Yes. The Pet Dinette is not on Amazon. It can be pre-ordered on my site. You can get the carrier on my site, or you could get it on Amazon. Any place else you can find me. That's it, I think.
Oh, my gosh.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Target.
Yay, that's awesome.
You can find me at Target.
So now what I expect, Michelle, is that not only, number one, hopefully, like I said, if I've done my job right, not only will you hopefully come to my festival and meet me, and like I said, I'll send you the information for that, but more importantly, I'd like to come back to the show for your book, because I'm huge on promoting businesses and authors, because I'm an author myself. So you must come back when the children's series is done.
Oh, I would love to, and I'd love to have Jacqueline, my partner, do that too.
That would be awesome.
She's from Canada, so she's so nice. Okay. That's where all the nice people are from.
I would like that.
and
that would be a good thing.
So super talented. I'm not just saying it. And
no, I believe
she's just a class act. Yeah. She's bringing it to life.
We definitely have to have
it's
that.
Incredible.
You have to come back to that, because obviously we want to promote the book itself as far as that goes. Certainly. And I wish you nothing but success with the product. Don't be a stranger, of course. Please come back on. And I'll be in touch shortly, and I'll send you that information, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to each other in person. I'd love that.
I would too. Likewise. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.
Okay.
Anytime, Michelle.
Care.
You have a great day, dear. Bye-bye.
You too.
Tell me she was not knowledgeable and fascinating and fun. Thank you so much. So once again, one more time, thanks so much to Michelle Glasser for giving me an hour's worth of her time. I say it all the time. I'm going to say it one more time. Dana Humphrey, you are the best. You're the bomb. You're the greatest. Your clients are the most awesome. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. I miss you so much. Keep sending me whoever you like, whenever you like, because I think you're wonderful. But we all know that already. I'm a big Dana fan. So to anybody who might be looking for PR needs, her name is Dana Humphrey. She works specifically 90% of the time in the pet world, and it's whitegatepr.com. Go ahead and check her out. You can also find her on Facebook, which is, her name is Dana Humphrey, Humprey. So make sure that you make it a point to check her out. She is phenomenal at what she does. And not only that, she used to be just New York, but now she's kind of bouncing around all over the country. And good for you, girl. You deserve it. whitegatepr.com. One more time for everybody. Her name is Michelle Glasser, and the company website is SitStayGo Company, and that's CO abbreviated .com. Facebook is SitStayGo. The Twitter handle is at SitStayGo CO. She's on YouTube. She mentioned the products on Amazon, and of course Instagram. It's SitStayGo and then _CO. Don't want to forget to remind everybody, as she's mentioned, this weekend she'll be in Hoboken, and if you get a chance and you're in Chelsea, the trunk show is November 4th from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., and that's at the D Pet Hotels in Chelsea, New York, of course. So again, thanks so much to my guest. Thanks so much to Dana, of course, for orchestrating this. Thanks so much to the listening audience. That would be you guys that are listening in, because you're not sick and bored of me yet. So so I appreciate that more than you know. And so with that, we'll just wrap up with tomorrow's guest, just to let you guys know. Again, it's another 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, and it is an author of 16 books to be exact. I'm so excited. Her latest book is called Best Day Ever. Her name is Kira, and it's spelled Kaira, and her last name is Ruda. It's Rouda. KiraRuda.com is the website. It's also listed on my show page and on my personal page. She'll be on 1 o'clock tomorrow Central Standard Time to talk about her new book, and she'll also be talking about her previous life as a columnist and the creation she put together, which is Real Living Real Estate. So looking forward to that tomorrow. You guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you then.
Napa know-how.
A Napa guy knows more isn't always better, unless we're talking about full-size vans. These beasts do more than get you from A to B. They have so much space a man can live in it. With shag carpeting, waterbed, and a sweet lava lamp, these mobile abodes have all the comforts of home. With quality parts and plenty of Napa know-how, you can keep the original tiny house running longer, stronger. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.